Do you like listening to Sexpert? How much do you like listening to Sexpert? Show me how much you like listening to Sexpert. And go to podcasts in the iTunes store, rate, review, and subscribe to Sexpert. Listen, I'm already so happy that you're listening, and if you're subscribed, I am so happy that you're subscribed. But the only way that we get boosted in the iTunes store is if you rate and or review us. Super simple. Click of a button, type of a key, just say how much you love us. If you don't have anything to say, I don't know, talk about your favorite TV program. Basically, if you do it, it boosts us, and it kind of makes me happy too. So go to the iTunes store, find Sexpert in podcast, make sure to click those 5 stars, yes, all 5 of them, leave a cool review that I can read, and maybe I'll read it on the show. If you leave a cool review, I may read it on the show. So rate, review, subscribe to Sexpert in iTunes, and thank you for listening.
You're listening to Sexpert with me, Renee, where we say words like piece of shit, motherfucker, cocksucker, cunt. We get so dirty that even your mother's soap bar can't clean our mouths. You've been warned.
Welcome to Sexpert with me and Renee, where we talk everything sex. Get ready for awkward topics, inappropriate jokes, foul language, and a little bit of education. We are no doctors, just young adults looking to inform our generation about sex so they can live healthier, naughtier lives. I'm Mia Renee, your host. Are you ready? Hi guys, welcome to Sexpert with Mia Renee, where we teach our generation how to live healthier and naughtier lives. I'm your host, Mia Renee, and welcome to episode 13, where we are going to be discussing dorm sex tonight. It's just Madison and myself, so how are you doing, girl?
I'm doing great. I'm trying not to die of heat stroke, but other than that, great.
It's so fucking hot.
It is ridiculously hot.
And you're moved back into your dorm, right?
I am, and I'm loving it.
So we're both just kind of chilling in our respective dorms. I honestly missed dorm living so much, and I know that sounds so weird, but I missed it. And I have a hall style dorm this year, which is nothing like I had last year, and I actually really love it.
Really?
So yeah, I do. I mean, I've never really had too much of a problem with hall style, but I've really just been enjoying it. Do you have a suite style or hall style? What do you have going on?
Yeah, I have suite style. I have my roommate and then 2 other suite mates, and I'm absolutely loving it. I love having our own bathroom. And I've made great friends with them, so it's all been great.
That's so awesome. Did you know your roommate before moving in this year?
I didn't know my roommate or suite mates.
Oh my gosh. Are they okay, or are they total crazies?
Yeah, they're great. I'm enjoying all of it. I mean, it's really been great.
That's good, because it takes a good roommate to kind of be able to have sex with someone in your dorm, right? So it's important to make sure your roommates kind of chill with that. And we'll talk a little bit about that later.
Oh yeah.
But right now I have a couple things I want to talk about before we really got into the episode. Hopefully I can just kind of run through them. So first I wanted to announce this really cool website/app that is meant to help college students. Now, it's called Spitball. You heard me correctly. As if you were to throw a spitball into someone's hair or something, we're in middle school. But it's spitball.co, and it's used at 13 target schools right now. So you can only use it if you go to these 13 schools, and they include Auburn University, University of Florida, University of Iowa, Iowa State, University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan State University, University of Missouri, Columbia, Ohio State University, Penn State University, Texas A&M, UNC Chapel Hill, Vanderbilt University, and University of Wisconsin-Madison. So, Spitball is working with these 13 universities and colleges to provide a really cool platform, almost like a social media platform for students to study on and prepare for their classes with. And you're actually able to sign up for this app with a custom link that is for moi. That helps me benefit, but also helps you benefit because it gives you kind of push on the website. And so the way it works is you just sign up and you choose one of your schools, and you're able to gain points for the amount of different things you do. You're able to create classes, And within those classes, you can upload like pictures of notes and stuff, so you can keep track of notes. You're able to create like mock quizzes and stuff, and you can add your classmates into the classes. So you're able to kind of have this environment where it's like it's classmate helps classmate type deal. And it's really, really neat. It's neat. It's awesome. It's fun. You have a point system, so you gain points for like every class you create or every test you take or every test you create, which can put you at the top of the charts for your school, and it's just a really rad app. So the custom link for you to check out the app and online is going to be in the show notes, but if you just randomly want to write it down, it's spitball, spitball.co/UNC, which is my school, but anyone can sign up for the link, or sign up for Spitball if you go to one of the 13 schools. So spitball.co.unc /ref equals fresh U Mia R. So I just suggest checking out the show notes, copying, pasting it into your browser, and you can connect it straight to Facebook. So it's like minimal effort to even sign up for the service, and it's just super cool. So I would definitely suggest checking it out. And we have started running on a bi-weekly schedule, as we talked about in last week's episode. So in 2 weeks, we have this really neat episode coming up, guys. I'm so fucking stoked for it. Mason's going to be joining me. We're going to be interviewing Abigail EQ. Okay, how do you say it earlier, Madison? I cannot. I'm so awful.
EQ? I'm not positive,
EQ?
though. I don't want to say it wrong.
Abigail EQ is this really rad chick that lives in New York City. She writes erotica, but like her main focus as a photographer right now and an artist is taking pictures of naked men in order to promote male sexuality and the naked male body and stuff. And we actually mentioned her a couple episodes ago. I forget which episode it was, but we did. And so we're going to be interviewing her in anticipation of her new book called Bare Men, coming out September 20th. That's going to be in about 2 weeks, maybe a little less. I may see about releasing the episode on September 20th or something like that. But we'll be interviewing her. I think it's going to be really awesome. It's going to be really entertaining. So definitely be on the lookout for that episode. If you're not subscribed to us on iTunes, YouTube, Podbean, Google Play, subscribe, because when you subscribe, you get notifications of when we upload new episodes. Social media. Guys, I tweeted something. I did. I really did. I tweeted a poll like 30 minutes ago, asking people what they thought about dorm sex. I said yay or nay, and we had a whopping 86% of people say yay, and a very sad 14% of people say nay. So yay to dorm sex, which is why we're going to be talking about it today, especially with a lot of people going back to college. Dorm sex can be quite the topic. So I'm super excited I'm just like super stoked to be talking about dorm sex and sex. I just love sex, and I'm just really also really tired. So like I'm just really spastic right now, but super stoked. You can follow me on Twitter at Mia Renee Cole. You can find me basically anywhere with that username. But of course, check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Sexpert with the word with Mia Renee. Madison, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram. We'll just leave it in the show notes because it's too hard. And then on Twitter, or I guess you can find me on Facebook. I don't know if I'll promise I'll add you just because that's a little private.
I've been receiving some weird friend requests recently, and it's like, I don't know who you are, but I appreciate it. But I'm not.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We see you.
Yeah. There's a reason we have a Facebook page for you to like, so you can keep up to date with all of your Sexpert needs. And of course, I have a personal Facebook like page for my blog. It's facebook.com/ I believe it's Mia Renee Writes is the.
I don't even know.
But you can like that, and I have a lot of really cool stuff coming to my website right now that's actually going to kind of affect not really, but it's just really neat. So when that happens, I'll let you guys know so you can check it out, because it's going to be totally rad. Moving on to sex today. All right, I found an article about the Olympics, because even though they're over, they're still going on in my heart. And it's from New York Post, and it says, Olympic diving duo splits after teammates' marathon sex session.
Oh, man.
So, talking about dorm roommate sex. It's the first rule of team diving. Never go down without your partner. Yet a pair of synchronized swimmers from Brazil split up this week after one of them kicked the other out of their Olympic Village dorm room to engage in a marathon sex session, and that's in quotations, on the eve of their competition. Giovanna Pedroso, 17, says she was forced to spend the whole night before her event wandering around outside her room while her partner, 20-year-old Ingrid Oliveira, got wet and wild with a male canoeist named Pedro Goncalves. So the canoeist, I just think it's just a male canoeist. The long night for both teammates showed the next day at the Olympic diving pool. The women came in dead last in the 10-meter synchronized event with a performance that reportedly drew laughs from the crowd. The failure left Pedroso furious at Oliveira. I have been waiting for 4 years to be present at the Olympics, she raged. And for her, it was better to have fun and therefore threw me out of the room. Oliveira has already been on thin ice with her partner before the Olympics as they reportedly fought in practice before the games, but Pedroso says that Oliveira's abysmal roommate etiquette was the final straw. Me and my coach have talked, and after the Olympics I will focus on my individual. She says it's good because I will not need to depend on anyone. Oliveira has long been known as one of the South American nation's saucier athletes. She has been criticized in the past for posting a picture of herself lounging around in a bikini to Instagram before failing at a big meet in Toronto. This week, she tried to downplay the rift with Pedroso. We leave differences behind and we talked normally, Oliveira told some O Globo, it's the news source. From today, I will not jump synchronized with her. Goncalves, the man in the middle of the breakup, wisely stayed out of the women's feud, telling a local paper, "My personal life I do not speak about." Meanwhile, that's what I imagine the canoeist sounds like. Meanwhile, the Olympics Athletes Village has been notorious as a hotbed of sex because the Olympic Committee had reportedly gave 450,000 condoms to the 11,178 athletes, which we talked about. Mason and I talked about in the episode about STIs. Got to catch them all except an STI. We talked about the condom thing. So it was roughly 40 condoms for each Olympic athlete, which apparently went into use, especially since Rio's tender match rate went up by 129% during the weeks of the Olympics. So,
those athletes got their hormones running.
they got that adrenaline pumped because they're competing. So they just want to stick their dicks and vaginas everywhere. And they're all just excited to do so.
I think the story is a number one example of how you have to communicate in dorm rooms.
Well, it's a number one example of how not to have dorm sex.
Yes.
I feel so bad because there was a 3-year age difference, 20 and 17. And, and she just got kicked out of her room for a marathon sex session, which to me sounds like she must have been having sex for hours. No wonder she performed badly. She was fucking sore and tired the next morning, and that other girl had been walking around.
Right? That would be awful. I would be mad.
No
I would be so mad.
Yeah, especially since it affects a performance that you've been working for 4 years. And, I mean, we know that it was the 17-year-old's first Olympics. Because you have to be at least 16 to be in the Olympics. So it was at least her first Olympics. So, that had to have been heartbreaking and frustrating, and don't fuck over your roommate, please.
Don't do it.
You can fuck your roommate consensually, but don't fuck them over. That'd be great.
That was good.
So,
I like that.
I said something last night that I thought, this needs to go on a t-shirt. I said something along the lines of, slut shaming is okay if you're doing it to yourself. Something like that. I don't know.
can see that,
I thought it was funny. Today we're talking about dorm sex, and I have this cool article from Elite Daily before we start really getting into tips called 8 Types of Sex You Have When You're Sharing a Dorm Room. There are 8 different types of sex, and I was like, how does it even, how many different types of sex, what types of sex do you think? It's just types of sex. It's not necessarily specific down to positions.
Like oral or... Like on the bed and the floor type thing?
It's all sorts of things. Let me just go through them. So the
Okay.
first one is silent sex.
Well, I think that's important because not silent maybe, but like quiet. Because I know I can hear everything
Yeah,
through my walls.
walls are thin, or if your roommate is sound asleep.
Oh
The
God.
only kind of sex you can be having is silent sex. And then number 2 is drunken sex, because college. And you think it's a good idea to bring someone back to your dorm because you're intoxicated. And then we have desperate sex. When you bring someone back to your shared space, not because you're wasted, but because you're desperate.
Just need for some.
Not because I'm wasted, but because I'm desperate. Number 4 is the non-sex sex. So bringing someone back with the intention of having sex, but you figured, hell no. You need to like start doing your shit, and
You realize
either
just
the
how much
roommate
homework
gets all
you gotta do.
creepy, or the partner gets all creepy, or it just doesn't work out. And then we have like double sex. So you bring your I don't want to say partner, because when I think of this I think of hookups, but you bring your whoever back to the dorm only to find that your roommate is hooking up with someone at the same time. I don't think anything encompasses college better than that.
That is hilarious.
And then, of course, for all of you fucking freaks out there, number 6 is the threesome sex.
Of course.
Naturally. The 2 roommates doing it with, whoever.
Every guy's dream.
That's every guy's dream. I had a penny for every time my boyfriend asked me if me and my roommate did lesbian things together. Number 7. Oh, here's one for you. Number 7. Oral sex.
There we go. Found
There,
it.
I forgot it's on here. It's because your cheap dorm bed is going to creak like crazy. So, might as well just keep it a little slow and less physical. And then, of course, number 8, the sex that gets you kicked out.
Oh, God.
So this could go either way. It could go the way of the Olympic athletes, and you get kicked out so someone else could have sex. Or you're the asshole always having sex in the dorm and your roommate kicks you out. If that makes sense.
Like, you can't do this anymore. You gotta find somewhere else to live.
Exactly. I mean, when you got, like, morning classes, or, it's just, that's why we have, like, dorm sex courtesy. And, we're going to be talking about that.
Because there is a lot of courtesy that you have to put into
There's so
this.
much courtesy. It's like you're going to fucking church, man. Okay? It's crazy.
And it really is about...
Like, you have to abide so many rules.
And it really is, like, personal preferences. So you have to talk to your roommate.
Yeah.
Like, they might not give 2 shits about what you do, but they might also really care.
And most residential advisors do, like, these roommate agreements, too. And they go around to every room, and they have both roommates sit down with them and, like, say they come to terms with shit. And so that's important to bring up at the same time, or to talk about at the beginning of the semester. Like, my roommate and I, like, talked about, like, I made sure, hey, will it be okay for my boyfriend to come visit? And I check with her in advance about him coming to visit. Like, he's coming this weekend. And, she, she's known about it for, like, what, Rose? You've known about it for, like, what, a week now? Yeah, she said, So, like, it's, it's all about in advance, and I definitely plan on talking to her about the sex schedule, later this week.
Sexual?
It's like one word. Sex schedule. Sexual.
Sexual.
Sex.
Schedule. No, they both fit very perfectly. Sexual. Schedule.
Schedule of sex.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I have a couple of tips. And these are also on my blog, miareneecole.com. Basically, how to not be obnoxious when having dorm sex. First of all, do you have anything to say?
Are you listing tips, or are we just going on a general?
I just have, like, tips to list. But I didn't know if you had anything to say about dorm sex from your personal experiences, or if, you have any friends that have personal experiences. I know that one of our good friends who goes to Western recently posted a Snapchat video. Did you see it? It was on his story of his roommates above him having sex. really loudly. Did you not
What?
see that?
I don't think I saw. I haven't been on Snapchat.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
He's just got promoted to president of his fraternity. You have no clue who I'm talking about right now?
No.
Okay, it's I'll have to block out the name.
He
But
got promoted to president?
yeah, he got promoted to president of his frat.
Oh God. Well,
Yeah, I guess.
they're going through a lot of stuff right now. I'm surprised it's still going. But what?
He posted, it was so fucking funny. He posted a Snapchat story. His roommates above him, or whoever, it wasn't the roommates together, I don't think. It was someone had a girl over or something. And they were just having really loud sex. So he played Let's Get It On really loudly in his dorm room. I did see that,
but I did not understand what was going on.
Because they were getting it on upstairs really loudly, so he played Let's Get It On really loudly in his dorm room. And then when it ended, he posted a video. He was playing Baby Come Back really loudly after the sex had ended. He played it really loudly so they could hear it. And I was like, that is fucking hilarious.
He is so funny.
Hilarious.
I guess some of my stories, I don't know. Like, whenever discussing the roommate part, my roommate last year was my best friend, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I just kind of told her, she at the time had a boyfriend, and I had a boyfriend. I was like, listen, if you ever want, like, whenever he was coming to visit one weekend, and I was like, I don't want you having sex while I'm sitting right there asleep, 10 feet away from you. Like, if you want to have sex, just let me know. I'll get out of the dorm, send me a text message or something, give me some kind of hint, and I'll get out as soon as I can. And it really worked out very well. I actually thought that they were, like, I was feeling pretty strongly about that just because I didn't want to hear that. She's my best friend. Why would I want to hear that? And
Right.
I actually woke up and I thought that they were, and I got so mad. I was so pissed. I was like, we had an agreement, and I didn't talk to her until after he left. Like, I went off and did my own thing, and she was like, Madison, we didn't. We were just up there making out. And I was like, well, it certainly sounded like
That's still a little weird.
Still a little weird, yeah.
It's a little weird if we're not in a dark house and we're not drunk.
Right, exactly. And
yeah.
Of course, my boyfriend came to visit, but, like, it would be on weekends that my roommate would leave. So we could spend the whole weekend together and not have to worry about... I think I've talked about it before, but, like, we would... Because our bed would never fit. Mm-hmm. It is so crammed in these beds. I can barely fit myself. But we would build,
I bought a futon this year.
Huh?
I bought a futon this year.
Oh,
to solve that problem.
Nice. That's perfect for this
nice.
then.
Yeah.
But I would take my comforter and all the blankets I could find and just make, like, beds in the floor. And we spent the whole weekend on the floor.
That's awesome.
It was so much fun. And that's really, honestly, if you're going to spend the weekend with somebody, that's the only thing I would recommend. Because blow-up mattresses
just, like,
deflate and stuff. And
That's so awesome. And that's, like, something you'll never forget about the, like, college
we had so much fun. I went on
the one time last year that I had sex in my dorm, because most of the time when I was having sex last year, I was at other people's places. The one time I had sex in my dorm last year, like, it was not planned. So I had to text my roommate, like, as, like, me and this guy were making out. And I just texted her, because she knew he was coming over, I just said, don't come back. Because that's all I had time to text. I was just like...
You committed the foul. You did it.
I just said, don't come back, and she goes, oh God. I said something like, I'll let you know. And then I did, and it ended up being really, really bad sex.
Oh,
and
God.
I wanted him out of there, so I had her call me and yell at me over the phone that he needed to be out of the room. Except when I told her to call and yell at me, this was how she yelled. She called and she was just like, I need you to get out of the room right now. And I'm like, no, you need to yell loud enough so he can hear it. Like, he needs to hear it. But,
oh my God.
Needless to say,
it's good that you had your roommate there.
Yeah. Well, not actually there, but
there for
emotionally. She was there for me. That was really fun. Really fun. So, yeah, I have a few tips here. Let's see. I have about maybe 7. Ways to stay courteous and not be obnoxious when having sex when you're sharing a dorm with someone, or if you're in a dorm in general, because let's be honest, guys, walls are thin.
Oh, they're so thin.
And this is how it is in apartments too. So, if you ever have like a roommate. So my first tip is, of course, ask in advance if it's planned or anticipated sex. So with my, example, like I had not planned to have sex with him at all. That didn't happen, but it wasn't the plan. So if it's ever planned or anticipated, you need to let them know in advance. So, because, you don't really want to have sex with them while they're in the dorm, and they probably don't want to be there while you're having sex. So it's best for them to find a place to go and hang out during that time, because a lot of people, like, you're not going to be like, oh, you don't have to be here for 30 minutes. They're going to want to be gone for a couple of hours, to give you your time and your space, and also not be super weirded out when they come in and you're still, like, naked in bed.
Right, and you still get that sex smell.
So think of it, oh, God, right. So, like, you want to give that, like, most people want, like, 2 hours at least away from the room. And, like, that usually requires they make sure they have plans and they have stuff to do, stuff like that. So ask in advance if planned or anticipated, and ask them to their fucking face. Just explain, just say, I have so-and-so coming over, we may have sex. Unless you really want to be here when it happens, don't. And then, okay, number 2 is if it happens spontaneously, you still need to let them know in some way or another. And there's so many ways to do this. Unfortunately, we have phones now in which we can text message people. So you can shoot people a text. But back in the day, I think it was back in the day in college, people would put socks on the door handles of their doors as like a hint to anyone trying to come to the room. And I talked about this with someone last year, and they were like, that's just too obvious, though, And I'm like, as if the moaning from the fucking moon isn't obvious enough, right? Like, but at the same time, yeah, socks obvious, but it's also, like, kind of universally known. Even though it's not used as much anymore, most people have heard the stories of the socks on the door handle that signify, don't come in, we're having sex. So that means that if anybody were to approach your dorm door, they would know what that means.
Yeah, and that's,
instead of, like, having some secret, you can form some secret, like, code between you and your roommate. That's what my roommate wanted to do last year. Form some kind of secret code, like, on the door or something. But, and you can, but, just don't be surprised if someone who doesn't know your secret code comes a knocking.
Right, that's what I was going to say. It's a really good bonus that I never thought about, like, somebody, trying to come in. But then again, there are locks on the door. I don't know. But, like, if your roommate, because they're the only ones that have a key to your dorm that share it. So if you don't want, like, the whole hall to know that you're in there having sex because you're being quiet and stuff, like, just like I was talking to I was like, oh, dang it, I said her name. You'll have to edit that.
I'll block it out.
Just like I was talking to my roommate, you just have to come up with some kind of signal, send any kind of sign, but talk about it in advance, like, make sure that they understand what that means.
Yeah. And you were saying, like, the only people with the key to the dorm are the roommate, and then I think, but, like, what about maintenance guys? Like, like, you put in, like, a fix my room type of request, and the maintenance guy, you don't usually, they usually give you a 48-hour window, type deal.
Yeah, so but they might disregard the sock, too.
Right, they may. So, so I'm sitting here, like, I feel like they'd know what the sock meant, because they're usually, like, middle-aged to older men, so I feel like they know. But maybe in that 48-hour window, don't have sex in your room.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you put in a maintenance request, plan to not have sex in your room.
But also, if anyone knocks on your door, I'd suggest answering it. Even, like, because I know at least with maintenance guys or, like, RAs or something, that do have some kind of access to get into your room, like, with the key, usually the knock is a signal of, like, if, it's either you answer the door, or if you don't answer the door, they know you're not, or they assume you're not there, and they let themselves in.
Right, and I mean,
I would suggest always acknowledging a knock if you hear one.
And that's a good rule. If you're at somebody else's, place, and they have to answer the door, don't, like, get offended that they're stopping to answer the door. I mean, they have things that they have to deal with, too.
Right, so, just put on... when my boyfriend and I were at the beach, we were, I wouldn't say we were getting it on one morning, but he sleeps like naked. But we were definitely like laying in bed, just like, making out. But room service came by, so he was like, God, and he had to get up and had to like put a towel around him. And he like answered the door, and he's like, no, we're fine. He's like, we're fine, don't come back.
Right.
So, but it's just, you be courteous in that sense. And sometimes, it very well could be your RA or your neighbor saying, I'm trying to study, could you or like, I got a noise complaint. Like,
can you
keep
the
it
volume down a little bit?
And so just, make sure, and that's not included in my tips, but, if that were to happen. But with your roommate, yeah, let them know even if it is happening spontaneously, so that they can figure out to do something else. And if it does happen spontaneously, try to keep in mind the fact that you didn't let your roommate know in advance, and don't drag it out to be 2-hour long cosplayed fucking sex. Like, keep it short, ladies and gents.
Understand that you're in college.
Because your roommate could be, like, stranded in the dining hall with no homework or anything, like, nothing to do. Like, what are they going to do for 2.5 hours while you're Dungeon and Dragoning sex?
Everyone's in college. We've got shit to do. Don't just be an asshole about it.
Exactly. Like, everyone's in college. We have shit to do. But also, at the same time, everyone's in college. And roommates are pretty understanding about the sex thing. But as long as you're courteous.
Not like, you
Not
have
like,
2 hours sexual time and need like 2-hour prep time before and after.
Right. Wait till your roommate's like home to do that. Or like, not in town.
Yeah,
Or
if you want to do that, make sure that they're not going to be
place.
there.
Right. And that's honestly the best way to coordinate it. Is if your roommate's out of town, that's when you can get down and dirty. Let's see. Number 3, I said, well, there we go. Wait until they're not in the dorm. That way you don't have to deal, and you may want to let them know in case they're coming back on Sunday and you still have whoever over. You may want to give them a heads up, be like, we won't probably be having sex when you come back, but, I mean, he or she will be there, type deal. Or let them know, yeah, while you're gone, I'm going to have so-and-so here this weekend. It's just like a courtesy because you share living space with them.
Right, and I would want to know if, like, somebody was near my stuff.
Right, exactly. So, but, if they're not, say that every Tuesday and Thursday night they have a night class, and then after the night class they go out to eat, you could always figure that out. You may want to confirm with them that they are in fact going to their night class and are in fact going to get food afterwards, and maybe drop a hint that, okay, thank you, I may be getting laid during that time, so that they know. Again, just so they know someone else is in there, but also, I feel like there's too many situations where people assume their roommate isn't going to be there or come back at a certain time, and they do. And their roommate is not at all prepared for what they have to see, so.
Oh, I don't know if this is in your tips, but something to think about along with that is have a game plan for talking about it afterwards with your roommate. Like, if they walk in on you, know what you're going to say. Like, know what to do.
Yeah, perfect. We're adding that. Have a game plan for if they walk in on you. Right. So, what would you suggest, like, with the game plan?
Well, obviously your roommate is going to walk in and go, oh, and then walk right back out, hopefully. I don't know. Maybe they're into it and they want to join.
I'm just going to lay down my books right here and like maybe make some ramen noodles, but I'll be out here in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. But, I mean, more than likely they're not going to want to stay. And like I said, unless they're really into it and want to do like the 3-way thing. But they're more than likely going to leave. So what I mean by game plan is the after what happened, like, if something, figure out what went wrong that they showed up. Either you didn't text them, there wasn't any kind of signal, something went wrong so that they walked in. And if it was like an emergency, like, they had to get into the room as soon as possible, then figure out, what you can do to solve this problem. Like, have your phone on sound so if they text you, you can look at it and see that they're coming and know, like, get some clothes on.
That's always been a big one in my book, is anytime I have sex, my phone's sound is always on. In case I were to receive, like, and this was especially back in high school when I'd be at my boyfriend's house. And, like, if my dad was like, why aren't you home yet, or blah, 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 blah. You know, like, I was always just very conscious about that because my dad was very strict about curfew when I was in high school.
Oh, me too.
Especially when I was with my boyfriend. And now it's obviously not so much, but I keep it on because, you know, my roommate, I have to be courteous of, you know, her. So I usually always keep the volume on. Because you're not going to hear vibrate at all when you're having sex.
You're not going to
But
care.
sometimes it can be a little annoying to have your volume on. Because I know myself, I'm always just receiving fucking messages on my phone. And so sometimes it's like we're having sex and it's just like bing, 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 bing. That's just my phone the entire time. But
Make a rhythm to it.
right, like try to. It's not quite that consistent. So another tip I had was don't ever just quote unquote like kick your roommate out or make them feel like, not that like don't be like, I don't want to say don't make them feel like they can't be there because like you don't want them there.
Just
yeah,
be
we get
polite.
that. But don't like make them, don't be an asshole about it.
Yeah.
And don't be constantly asking them to be out of the dorm. Like, don't, you know, if you have your partner that you're having casual, or not casual, but if you're having constant sex with a certain person, try to split it up between your two places if you can. Like, and I'm talking, if you're having sex with this person multiple times a week, you know, you're obviously seeing them enough to be having sex with them enough that they're close enough that you could probably split it up between your two households or where you're living. But if you are, like, having to basically, almost your roommate is having to spend every other day or, like, 3 or 4 times a week out of the room, like, every week, because you're having sex, I feel like that's more of a, like, you're kind of kicking them out of the room. Like, they deserve that space, too, type deal.
Right, and I completely understand, you know, wanting
yeah.
to have sex all the time. That's totally, you know, normal.
That's how I am, like, you know, I wake up, you know.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, let's go to bed. Yep, we're ready to go every day. But, yeah, again, people have shit to do. You know, that's their living space, too. They're paying to be there just as much as you are. So,
exactly.
You know, don't be an asshole about it, like you said. Be
exactly.
Courteous.
So, and, you know, some people think of kicking out as leave and you can't come back. But, like, if your roommate feels like they aren't getting their share of the room and that they are kind of being forced out of the room, because if you approach your roommate saying, hey, I'm looking to have sex, you know, or you're constantly doing this, obviously, like, you know, say 4 times a week, you know, you're doing this with your roommate's going to, like, because they've let you do it so many times, probably they're going to be very timid to say no, unless you have a really just, like, stand their ground roommate. So your roommate's going to feel very, like, kind of helpless in the situation. And if you're in this situation as a roommate, definitely put your foot down and say, listen, this is my room too. Like, we're sharing it. You're having sex with Johnny every fucking night. Why can't you go to his room sometimes? Like, you know, it's just whatever.
Yeah, and
so don't constantly kick them out.
Unless they're, you know, doing the same thing and they're going to someone else's place every night. I mean...
Right, and that would be, like, a different situation, in which case it's completely different, which is why communication is so important. With the I mean, I don't know if y'all, like, if, for those of you that listen to every episode, because I do know people that, like, catch up with every episode, the constant theme of Sexpert is fucking communicate with people.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if anyone's picked up on that.
Well, because the theme of sex, like, is
communicate with fucking people. That's why we don't want you having sex at 12, because 12-year-olds don't know how to communicate. At 12, I had an auto signature with Justin Bieber's initials. Like, you know, like, like, that's just end of that. My second point was don't constantly be having sex, which goes along with the don't be kicking them out. You know, like, if you're constantly having sex, try to split it up between your two places. It's just being courteous of their time and their space.
Or, like, venture somewhere else, because then even if you're breaking it up between the two places...
Exactly. Public sex is illegal, but only if you're caught, you know, so...
Hey, I mean, go and if you've got a big car, park it somewhere dark.
You know, like,
That's
find
yours.
a dark corner in the library, or, like, you know, a dark corner of campus, like, at night. I don't know, whatever you want to do.
I mean, if there's a creep there, then you might want to be careful.
Don't. But, yeah, exactly. But, you know, you don't have to always be confined to your bed in your dorm. But if you get caught, don't tell them that I told you to go have public sex.
Yeah, that's illegal. Don't do that.
That's illegal. but it's fun. Just don't get caught doing it.
Yeah,
Basically.
be smart about the stupid decisions that you make.
Right, because you're gonna make stupid decisions. You're already listening to the show, so we know you do. Okay, so here's one. Clean up afterwards. Oh my fucking god. Now, I've never been in a situation where my roommate last year didn't have like a whole lot of sex in the dorm, and I think the 1 or 2 times she did, I actually was like gone for the weekend. But don't fucking have sex, get the munchies, decide to leave with your partner, and leave sheets strewn everywhere.
Oh.
Like, fresh sex sheets, like a fucking condom. You leave any of that stuff anywhere, you know it's gonna smell like fucking semen and like fucking pussy when you walk in. Just don't like.
And would you want to walk into that and somebody
No.
else's smell? Like, no.
I only like the smell of my sex, not other people's.
Exactly.
Just mine. Mainly because I can't smell it. But.
Like that time, the weekends that I would have my boyfriend over, like I spent that whole entire Sunday evening cleaning our dorm. But I would vacuum, I would Clorox wipe everything, I folded and washed the sheets.
And that is such a smart idea to just show like how like courteous you are towards your roommate. Like you spent the whole weekend, you had this guy over for a whole weekend. Thank you, I'll clean the dorm.
Yeah, exactly. Because I wouldn't want to walk into that.
Right. So, like, washing sheets is a really good one. But, like, you know, a lot of people will either have, like, a one-time occasion or they're having it, like, frequently every week. So washing sheets becomes kind of irrational. But, like, for instance, when my boyfriend comes this weekend, I will be washing my sheets after he leaves. Because it's going to be a very sweaty weekend. But, like, sheets are a good idea. But, of course, like, if it's just something quick or something that happens kind of frequently, like, things you can do, just pick up any trash. And by trash, I mean, you know, condoms and condom packages.
And don't just, like, toss it over the trash can. Like, put it in there.
Don't toss it over. Don't put it in your roommate's trash. Don't leave it sitting on top of your trash. Okay? Make sure, I don't want to be like, make sure it's hidden. Shame, shame, shame. But don't just, like, leave it sitting out.
Like, you don't want to see somebody else's.
What if your roommate's fucking parents came in and saw a condom in your trash can? You know, if you can, take it to the bathroom. You know, put it in the bathroom trash. Something like that. Other things, pick up the clothes that got strewn around. Maybe you, if you have like a Febreze, or like my roommate and I have a lot of essential oils and diffusers, do that. Like make it so that your roommate looks forward to coming back after you've had sex. Like,
yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Woohoo! I love it when they have sex.
Yeah, you can have sex as long as you clean it.
So just make sure you straighten up. You know, like if you have a futon, you pull out the futon, put the futon back up. You know, make it presentable again. And the last tip I have is just mind how loud you are. And, you know, listen, guys, I love having, I am just loud in general, like, if you know me at all. But, like, so imagine me having sex. I'm sorry, I just put that in your head. But, like, I'm very loud when I have sex. But, like, you can't, you know, it's when you're in a dorm, even if your roommate isn't there, you have people on every side of you. And you have a whole hall of people.
There are so many situations.
And sometimes people are actually, believe it or not, people study in college. Blows my fucking mind. So, like, you know, you want to be courteous of the way you treat these other people, and you also don't want your RA coming back with a noise complaint. And I know a lot of dorm buildings have, like, quiet hours.
Yeah.
Like I know mine is, like, 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. or something like that. So if you know your quiet hours, you need to especially be careful. And I tell you what, I'm not, like, crazy. I'm just, like, because I'm a night owl anyway, so I'm not, like, super, like, oh, quiet hours, blah, blah, blah. But last night, it was Saturday night or something, some chicks came back around 1 a.m. in the hallway, and they were so loud, because they were drunk, but, like, they were just laughing and carrying on, and I was just, like, I think I was actually trying to go to bed, and I was just kind of, like, what? Like, is this echoey? Hallways are echoey. But, yeah, so just be courteous of those around you.
If you're
people do file noise complaints. Ask your RA. People are always calling noise complaints. Because people, you know, want to be sleeping, or they're stingy, or they don't, believe it or not, people don't like to hear other people having sex. So, just keep it down. I I know that may suck, but
And I mean, there are situations where you feel
price you
like you
pay.
can't hold it back, like you can't not, you know, be loud. So bite a pillow. I mean, really, you're right there if you're in a bed anyway, I guess, or if you're somewhere near a pillow. Just do it or make your noises under the pillow. It might not be
Right.
as hot, quote unquote, but it's still going to keep your noise level down.
Right. Another thing you could do, one thing you could do is your partner, when, if they're able to, whatever position you're in, if you're about to climax or orgasm, you could, like, be sucking on their fingers, which I know sounds really weird, but that, like, totally completely mutes you, like, almost entirely. Like, it keeps you from screaming, it keeps you from making a lot of noise, and it's usually really hot for them, too. And it can, it can be really hot for you, too, so,
Or if
but
you're
that
like,
helps as well.
or if you're into it, the hand over the mouth thing. Like if
The
they
hand over the mouth, yeah, that's hot too. Or choking, because that
That's
takes air
gonna
away from you. So
mute
you
you. But always make sure that that's
asphyxiation.
consensual, like you're both okay with it.
Right, exactly. Another thing, you could play music, but just be conscious of making sure your music isn't too loud, because that'll easily get you a noise complaint. But yeah, you could play music to muffle the sounds of the constant, like, banging and
'Cause
stuff.
I
Because
think
there's some sounds you can't help. Sometimes the beds make sound. Well, dorm beds are just notorious for making sounds. But, or hitting the wall, or just, like, you're just queefing, whatever the fuck happens. There's some sounds you can't help.
right,
And you could always play, like, a little bit of music, or have, like, a TV on, background noise, that, will somewhat mask the sound.
because I mean your roommates and neighbors would probably happily more prefer music over sex noises.
Right, exactly. Even if the music is a little louder than normal, and they're, like, probably thinking, yeah, they're probably having sex, they'd rather hear the louder music than the sex.
It's probably why that guy played music in his Snapchat.
No, it wasn't the guy. Oh, yeah. Well,
I know, but like
no.
to mask it. And also to be
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, I'll just knock out. We've said so many names, I'll just knock them all out. Yeah, was playing the music because people above him were having
Right.
sex.
It was just
Which is why he played the music, because he didn't want to hear him having sex. But it was funny how he did it.
yeah, right.
He just, let's get it on. And it was so fucking funny. I just thought it was hilarious. He's a funny dude. So, is there anything else today?
Really?
Anything else you want to talk about in terms of dorm sex? Or maybe, like, showering in dorms? Like, anything on those lines?
If you're gonna do it, make sure it's late at night, because you're less likely, if you're
Yeah.
like in a shared hall, like you share a
Yeah.
bathroom with everybody, make sure it's late at night. There's gonna be less likely that, especially if it's not co-ed bathroom, it's gonna be
Yeah.
less likely that, a girl or a guy is gonna walk in on you and see a opposite gender in their shower,
Right.
and they're
And
standing there
again,
naked.
like, don't be too loud, because showers get echoey as fuck.
Oh, yes.
And I would make sure, if you have a door to your main bathroom, like a hall style room, that is all the way shut. A lot of times they're propped open, and shut it all the way, because I don't mask any, like, not that I'm saying make a lot of noise and shut the door, but, you're probably going to want to talk a bit to your partner, but it does get echoey, and people walking past would hear it and just be like, what?
Right. And then I guess, like, if you're going to do shower sex in the suite style, clean up after yourself. Like we already talked about
like,
that, but
clean the shower.
clean the shower.
Legit, like, clean the towels, or the tiles.
And be careful, don't
And the
slip.
towels. Probably let your sweet mates know before,
Yes.
and your roommate. You probably want to discuss the fact of having shower sex way before their sweet mates, in case they're not okay with it.
And going along with, like, shower sex, take advantage of, like, I mean, don't go on to your roommate's side of the room or their stuff, but, like, take advantage of all the stuff that's in the dorm that you have to use. Like, there's a window seal. Clean everything, but...
Before and after.
Yes. But
yeah, take advantage of the walls. But of course, with the walls, if you know that your neighbor on a certain side of the wall is studying,
have fun,
maybe
but be
don't
conscious.
be making noise on that wall. And I'm fortunate that I have a corner room. So I have a wall that like is like just no one's on that side of the wall. So like
Oh,
I'm very
perfect.
fortunate. I know. But so there's that, and also just don't be like Brittany Snow in Pitch Perfect with the showers. Remember the scene where she just kind of walks in on Anna Kendrick like ass naked in the shower, and then her
Right.
like boyfriend comes in. But don't do that.
Don't be that person.
Don't be that person. You know, like it's awkward enough for people to glance like in a shower stall and possibly see two sets of feet. You know, it's awkward enough for someone. So.
Try and be courteous.
And possibly even, you know, like, you know, make sure, like, if someone does come in to shower or something while you're in there with your partner, maybe wait until they leave or leave while they're still in the middle of their shower. So
Yes.
that there's no awkward disruption moment. So.
But yeah, communication.
Yeah. And I guess my final tip would be, after having sex in your dorm, a lot of times people like to go, like, clean up. Like, you know, I always say women need to pee before and after sex, but especially after sex to prevent UTIs.
Yes.
And, you know, kind of clean yourself out down there, and guys usually want to clean themselves off. And, like, you know, I'm in a hall style, so it's different compared to last year when I had a suite style, which is the same as you have this year, so it was a lot easier just to do whatever. But if you have, like, a hall style or, like, a bigger suite, don't walk, like, half naked to the bathroom after having sex. Like, it would be more acceptable for me to walk to the bathroom in a towel or a robe or something. No one would suspect anything, but like, I mean, my boyfriend obviously couldn't use the hall bathroom. He'd have to go somewhere else. He'd probably just have to clean up, honestly, in my room.
Yeah,
Instead
that's
of having
how we
to
did
worry
it.
about putting on clothes and stuff too, because it's just, you know, I always say sex is stigmatized. Let's destigmatize sex. Totally. But let's also be courteous of other people.
But then again, like, after a while, like, whenever I was over at my other college, I got so comfortable walking down to the bathroom because it was such a long walk, and I would wake up and want to go. I would go in my big t-shirt and underwear, so,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but, like, no, don't go in just, like, you know, panties, and that's it. Because
Yeah, right.
nobody wants to see that except for you.
Don't have your
and
boyfriend
significant
go in his boxers down the hall. Like, that's just, no, that's too much.
Right.
All right, guys, so that is it for today's episode. Thanks for listening if you made it all the way through. Be on the lookout for episode 14 coming to you in 2 weeks instead of 1 because we're on a bi-weekly schedule. We're going to be interviewing Abigail in her Bare Men book, which looks really good. It's naked men, so my favorite type of literature. And we'll be seeing you then. Madison, I'll be seeing you in a couple of episodes because it's just going to be Mason and I
I know, so sad.
for episode 14. I know. I'm like, I wanted everyone to join, but it needs to be more of an intimate interview.
That's fine.
And
I
Mason's
understand.
already
I can't
gonna
wait to
fuck
hear
that up
it
with his
because
stories.
her work is awesome from what I've seen.
Yeah, she's so rad. Okay, guys, thanks for listening, and remember, as always, stay sexy.